So, with Jurassic World Evolution 3 out, and everyone digging into its improvements and additions, let's go over some simple tips that I think will help all of you with modular building. Welcome back to the channel. Modular building can be a complex, complicated, and perhaps a little daunting system to engage with, especially if you've never played a game with the system before. I myself was never really a modular building person, but having made a few blueprints now, I've picked up a few tips and tricks that I think will help anyone. So let's get started. Number 1, build on an empty map. So if you have a set thing in mind you want to build, then I always suggest that you build in a totally empty square map. I tend to build all my modular builds in the same tropical square map. This for me is the best way to build. You have a large amount of room to build on, and you don't have anything going on in terms of notifications or weather interfering with your building. See these empty maps as your canvas. Even better is that in an empty sandbox map, you can also build whatever structures you like, and this is useful if you want to build something for, say, the lagoons or aviaries. Number 2. Get comfortable with the controls. A key thing that I think makes people nervous about the modular system is how complicated it looks on the surface. But once you learn the basic controls, it takes a lot of the difficulty out of it. So let's take a look at those basic controls. Now I'm going to assume most of you are going to be able to handle building on a grid and how that works. So I'm going to talk about the advanced movement controls. These are vital for doing more than just sticking to the grid. There are 4 sets of controls located in the bottom corner and most items have them. The first set on the left is the standard move function. This allows you to move the object in any direction. It comes with a number of snapping controls, including position snapping, rotation snapping, and alignment. I'll be honest, I never use this control because I prefer the next one. The next set of controls is the advanced move set. This is the one you might recognize as the 3 colored arrows, which allows you to move an object in all 3 axes of motion, including clipping them through other objects and even the ground. You also have the same snap controls to assist, and a control that is very important, the axis toggle. This is a key control. Sometimes if you rotate an object or shift it around, the arrows to guide its movement can become shifted. This is its local axis. If you switch it to the global, then the arrows will snap back to the map defaults, which can help you with positioning. Next is the advanced rotate, which allows you to rotate any object in all 3 axes. However, the key control is not the 3 colored circles, but the snap angle control in the bottom corner. This allows you to pick the degrees that snapping can occur. There are a number of settings. 0 allows you to rotate an object smoothly through all degrees, perfect for very precise, creative building. Then you have 15 degrees, 22.5, 30, 36, and then 45 degree angles. These allow you to shift objects to specific angles. For example, if you want to take an object that is vertical and have it laying down instead, you can select 45 degrees and rotate the object in 2 snaps from vertical to horizontal perfectly. Same if you want to rotate an object to mirror it to a different rotation. The final control, and one that not every single object has, is the scale control. This allows you to change the scale of an object and make it smaller or larger. What's important to be aware of is that the object expands in size totally, not in proportion. For example, if you have an object with gravel in it and make it large, then you will make all the gravel larger too. Take note of this to avoid ending up with weird oversized elements. Number 3. Start small. I think another thing that puts people off modular building is that they think they need to build a huge complicated structure straight away. But I suggest that if you're new to modular building, that you focus on building something smaller to start with. Build a planter or a fountain or something decorative for the park. Use this to learn the controls and get more confidence with them. There are plenty of prefabbed planter and fountain pieces, which make a perfect starter place for modular building. In fact, this leads us to our next point. Number 4, look at what we actually have. Something I'm critical of is this awfully clunky menu that Frontier has put in place for the modular building, but it is worth actually spending some time looking through what is actually located in here, because some things might surprise you or even give you ideas. For example, in floors you have these wonderful Zen garden pieces that you can create lovely Japanese style Zen gardens with. In the roofs tab at the very bottom, you might be surprised to find all the pieces needed to build innovation centers. In the planters tab, you'll find a range of planter pieces that you can snap together to create your own planters for decoration work. Under the props section, you'll find a range of interesting pieces like cannons, huge chunks for making innovation centers, or even fossils. What I'm getting at is spend some time exploring what's actually in the modular building system. You might find something that stimulates an idea. Number 5, take note of special pieces. And connected to that is to take note of the unique elements within the modular system. The aforementioned innovation center pieces, which could serve as something else. For example, in the columns tab, you'll find at the very bottom the unique objects for making Jurassic Park gates and those unique columns that are part of most Jurassic Park designs. In props under concrete, you'll find a huge range of pieces that come from the Jurassic Park Visitor Center. Take note of these unique objects for later use or to form the basis of a larger structure. And remember, you can use the search bar to look for any object to make it easier to find, assuming you know what Frontier has called something, of course. Number 6. Build alongside an existing structure. Now this tip is especially important if you're wanting to build something for a particular build style. For example, if you want to build a Jurassic Park style building, build one of a similar type next to you. When I was building this Jurassic Park Operation Genesis style viewing platform, I had alongside a viewing gallery in the Jurassic Park style. This allowed me to see what sort of construction materials and styles went into the design. Same when I was building my DIN solar power plant. I built it alongside the vet facility. The advantage of this goes beyond just looking at the style. You can also access these structures using the edit building function and see exactly what pieces are being used where. You can even color match. For example, the roof pieces on the DIN buildings are a unique green-grey color. You can select one of these pieces, select the color change option and highlight the hex code of the color, and then you can either write it down for future use or do what I do, which is to hit Copy and C to copy the code and return to your build and do the same thing using Ctrl V to paste in the code, matching the roof color pieces. Just be careful to always fully exit the building if you are looking around it and make sure you're only editing your build. Number 7, detail is key. Now this is the bit that takes the most time. For your building to look as good as it can be, you need to actually think about how the building would work in reality. Detail and attention to detail is necessary. So let's take a look around my DIN solar power plant so I can highlight some of the detailing. Let's look at the front first. Obviously the most obvious features are the big symbols labeling the structure, which are lit so they appear fine in the dark. There's a fire extinguisher out here just in case, and CCTV guarding the entrance. Around the side, we have this large garage door. This is here because inside a power plant, you probably have to bring in and take out very large, complicated objects. It's signposted not to be blocked. You have spray decals on the ground to indicate the area that needs to be kept clear. Again, you have CCTV keeping watch and some controls and electrical box for the door. At the rear, you'll find the most details. Everything from fire escape ladders, cabling connecting all the solar panels, warning signs around all the electrical equipment, and many other details. On the roof, you'll find air conditioning units, cabling and other elements. And when you look at the building in the dark, you'll see lighting in all the places where it makes sense. All this attention to detail is what will really allow your building to look realistic and work alongside other prefabs located in the game. Number 8, take note of some other controls. Now there are some other controls that will really help your building. For example, looking at my buildings, you'll see a number of repeated elements, such as the wooden trim sections. Now, instead of placing each each one individually, you can click on one and use the duplicate control. This will create a copy in the same place. Then using the advanced move controls, you can shift it around. And if you only move in a certain axis, you can create perfectly straight lines, which works great for trim. Duplicate speeds up building quite a lot, so get used to using it. Some objects, not all, can have their color changed. This is a little box that shows the color. Clicking on this brings up the standard color palette or the color picker section. What's worth noting here is the hex code for the color, which is useful for getting exact colors and matching the color on other buildings. Remember to click accept to ensure the color change actually works. Also note that some objects have more than one color you can pick for them. Next up is the shift key. Say you want to change the color of every one of a type of object you have on your building, like these for example. Click on one, hold down shift, and then click on the rest. This will create a selection for you. On the left side, confirm your selection and you'll now be in control of every item you selected. You can move them around all you like, duplicate them, or even change the colors entirely. A key note: if you intend to change their colors, do that before duplicating or advanced moving, since you cannot access the color change menu afterwards. I think this is a quality of life bug that back exits out rather than leads back to the original menu. The last control is the main menu. The multi-select tool located under the transport button to drag a box around any objects, buildings, anything, and to select them all for further work. I tend to use this once a building is completed to make sure every part of it is selected before I make a blueprint. Number 9. Build efficiently. Piece count matters. This one is going to be very important for all of us. The fact is that modular building is something that CPUs have nightmares about. High piece counts will start to slow down parks. The key part of modular building is to build efficiently. In other words, don't use more pieces than you actually need to. Use the scale change to make objects bigger to fill in small gaps. Make sure you delete pieces that aren't needed or pieces that are technically hidden by others. And while attention to detail is important, also remember that even frontiers buildings don't have guttering or drains. Number 10. Don't judge yourself against the workshop. This is probably the biggest tip I have. Already the workshop is full of some amazing buildings from very talented builders, but for God's sake don't judge your efforts against them. All that will happen is you start judging your own building and your own abilities. Instead, build the things you want with your ideas. The more practice you have, the better you'll start to get. But if you're new to the modular building entirely or just a beginner, don't use those Planet Zoo architects that the game has attracted as some sort of bar to beat or to match. So that was 10 tips for the modular building system in Jurassic World Evolution 3. Let me know if any of these helped you and what you would like to see me cover in the future. I have some video ideas, but new ones are always appreciated. Don't forget to do all the usual YouTuber things, liking the video and subscribing for more Jurassic World Evolution 3 content and other games from us at Triclaw Gaming. Until next time, stay safe and goodbye.